Hello everyone, my name is Lowko and it's time for another viewer match, and what I got for you today is a Diamond League match of Zerg versus Protoss in StarCraft 2. Spawning in the bottom right hand corner of Acid Plant and playing with the red Zerg drones, we have none other than Popcracker. And his opponents spawning in the opposite corner and playing with the beautiful Protoss probes. He goes by the nickname of Dubgull. Dubgull. I don't know how to pronounce the H there in the middle of that nickname. Dubgull. Nah, I'm gonna go with Dubgull. I'm actually quite well known over at the live stream for absolutely butchering my viewer names. I apologize. Usually someone will join the chat and say hi to me, and I say hi, and you know, I try to mention their nickname, but I will completely butcher it if it's something that I can't pronounce. But I think Dubgull is gonna at the very least be, you know, reasonably accurate. Regardless though, some of you may have already noticed that indeed Mr. Popcracker here is part of the Lowko clan. And the Lowko clan, for those of you curious, because I see people ask all the time, it's actually available for Patreon supporters. So in case you guys are interested, I'll go ahead and post a link to it down below in the description of the video. I actually offer all kinds of perks on there. Popcracker, for example, he is one of the replay analysis, patrons as well. I basically go over several of his games every month, and I try to help him out and help him improve in StarCraft 2. And so far, he has indeed been making solid progress, although this is not something we have discussed. Mr. Popcracker, what's going on here? I love it. So his natural got blocked there, and instead of just simply going over to the third base, and actually Protoss is checking for that third base right now as well, he has decided to expand to the gold base instead. Now Dubgull, he did see that drone move out. Right, he did see the drone leaving the main base. He knows that he blocked it from building the natural, and he also knows that the third base has not been taken. So Dubgull, I mean, if he's paying close attention, this is of course Diamond League, right? He should know roughly what's going on, which means that I'm expecting him to probably, you know, scratch his chin right now and be like, hey, something might not quite be right. I may need to start scouting along the map, although actually there's now a sentry on that production tab, and sentries, they are probably the worst scouting unit that, so greedy! Oh, Popcracker! There probably was, oh my, no! Sentries are terrible at scouting is what I'm trying to say. For some reason though, these drones that are moving out are just barely not being spotted, nor is the creep here at the gold base. And Popcracker, I mean, he essentially crossed his fingers there. Hope that the Protoss at that point was not looking at his own natural, or I guess at the Zerg natural, and that he wouldn't be seeing that these drones were out and about on the map. I would have loved to see the drone transfer right after the pylon went down, right? Just for safety's sake. But, you know, sometimes you gotta live a little, right? You gotta live a little. Now, in the meantime, though, the sentry that came out is now indeed tickling an overlord to death. As some of you may be aware, sentries don't actually deal damage, they just tickle. Although, apparently, ugh, look at that. That polluted water is now going to be polluted with some more Overlord blood there. But it did deny the scout. Now, Dubgull did, however, decide to go for a Stalker and a Sentry follow-up. So this is actually pretty interesting. Because while you may have had the idea that something is not quite right here, neither of these units is really capable of scouting as soon as Zergling speed finishes in just a couple of seconds. Usually, that's the reason why we see Protoss players focusing on Adepts first. Adepts, of course, very good at dealing damage to Zerglings in the early game, but also very good at scouting, just because you can use the shade and the vision that it grants to just simply check out what's going on. But it looks like this gold base here of Popcracker is completely unscouted so far. And he's even now sending out a drone towards the left-hand side of the map to continue expanding there. Yeah, Protoss is not going to have any kind of vision. Protoss doesn't know about what is going on right now. Now, there are a lot of Zerglings already moving across the map. 18 actually more on that production tab just a second ago. Couple of links, however, will be able to get that surrounder on the Stalker. There is now also the warping of that Adept, but the Sentry also ends up dying, but not without throwing up a couple of pretty decent force fields. However, the Zerglings are now coming in with the reinforcement, and they're going to try and go after these units almost immediately. Great hold position micro right there, actually, by the Protoss player. So far, he's trying his very best to simply prevent this pylon from falling. Probes are pulled off the line now, though, and they are going to be forced to deal a little bit of damage here as well. A lot of probes falling so far, but the Adepts are just simply standing firm, right? They are standing tall. Beautiful wall as well at the top of that ramp, preventing these links from just simply flooding into the main once again. And Dubgull holds for now. Nicely done here. I would have loved to just simply see him complete the wall here at the front, which I think is the correct option. Right, just simply preventing your opponent from getting into that natural in the first place is much better. Couple of more Zerglings are now being sacrificed to the Blood God, as Popcracker no longer needs them anymore at this point in the game. He has now decided to go back to droning once again, which I like a lot, and he's now also getting himself that Baneling nest. Now here's what I was talking about. I like this a lot. So Dubgo is finally going for that wall off at the front. He doesn't have any kind of tech though, so there's no robotics, there's no Twilight, there's no Stargate, there's none of that. It's just a gateway-based army. I feel like just simply going for any of the 3 tech structures right now is a really good option, but he's now also trying to transfer some probes towards that natural. Although, yeah, these probes are now also locked into their own base. Twilight Council and Forges are now being produced here for Dubgo, so he does plan on making that transition towards stronger units here in just a little bit. Still, there are a lot of Zerglings out on the map, and indeed, Banelings, 11 of them, are now being morphed in here as well by Popcracker. So he's taking the bases here on the left-hand side. There are quite a few queens now also spreading creep, but these Banelings are more than capable of blowing up the front door. Still, there are indeed a lot of layers here, right? Layers of adepts. They're gonna be taken care of pretty shortly, but a lot of them will also end up taking a lot of damage. A single one of them remains with 2 HP. Perfect force field there by our Protoss player, preventing these links from just simply flooding into the natural expansion. I almost thought that there was going to be a wall over there, and while apparently Dubgal did end up warping in a couple more adepts here, so far he has done a very good job at preventing these links from flooding that natural expansion of his. Baneling now also target fire down. There is that single Zergling in the mineral line as well, but once again, Dubgal does a great job just simply holding down the front door. Gateway will be replaced. I would love him to just simply add like a 3x3 structure over there too, just for safety's sake, right? Just to prevent these links from once again coming in. Because judging by that production tab, yeah, I'm just simply seeing more and more Zerglings going down, more Banelings being morphed in as well, and another hatchery is now also being taken. Popcracker getting his lair on the left-hand side of the map. The main still completely, completely unharmed. Because at this point, look at Dubgal's vision. He knows nothing. He sent out a probe, he's finally getting himself a robo, but he knows absolutely nothing at this point in the game. Still though, 1-1 is just about to finish here on these adepts, which makes them extremely potent. The same can be said right there for the glaives upgrade, making these adepts significantly more powerful. Beautiful force field once again, preventing these links from adding any kind of additional damage here to that mineral line. And speaking of which, the probes are once again evacuated on out of there. Great micro backwards here by the Protoss player. Zergling though will finally be able to connect here with some of those units. The Banelings also ended up doing a critical amount of damage there, but nothing game ending just yet. Only 6 probes here went down, and I gotta hand it to Dubgo here so far for just simply standing his ground and preventing his opponent from finishing off this game right now. That could have gone, that could have gone in Popcracker's favor like 6 times here over already as well. Now Popcracker does have a significant amount of bases right at this point in time. Still though, Dubgo is now finally making a move across the map. That means that his natural is completely unguarded. Zergling's not quite paying attention there to the front, meaning that at this point Popcracker doesn't know about this army that's moving out, nor does he know about the amount of units here in the natural. There's nothing. Now the adepts though did finally figure out that something is not quite right, and they will figure it out that the gold base expansion has been taken. Let's see if the Zerglings will go for the counterattack. Looks like that is not gonna be the case, as they are now currently morphing into Banelings. Gold base is pretty much mined out already, so losing this one is not even that big of a deal. We do see a couple of these drones now still going down, as well as the sentry is tickling them to death too. But this is a pretty tough engagement to make. Here come the Banelings though. They will be able to blow that up in just a matter of seconds. And Popcracker manages to hold on here while reproducing 13 drones. At the same time though, reinforcing adepts are now showing up at the 4th base location here of our Zerg player. A lot of queens are now actually joining in as well. And Popcracker, he's not done just yet. He's trying to see if he can defend his wave here of adepts at his expansion, and then potentially probably use the queens here as well on the offensive. And queens, of course, very, very powerful when it comes to counter-attacking as well. Still though, These adepts, they are already at 1-1 upgrades, and actually +2 is now being gathered here as well. Once that one finishes, these Zerglings and Queens and Banelings are gonna have a super hard time, as these adepts will just simply pummel through pretty much every single one of them. A third Nexus is now also being taken. Great splitting there by our Protoss, preventing these units from dealing critical amounts of damage. Look at the third base, right? It's just finished up as well. Stalkers being warped in now too. A bit of a curious decision, considering he's really only seen Zerglings from his opponent at this point in the game. Queens hitting those transfuses left and right, and while the drones desperately try to go back to mining once again, it's not quite gonna happen, as the Adepts now are all of a sudden showing up in that mineral line, and Zerg will be in a bit of a tricky scenario. Couple of Banes are being morphed in as well. 2-2 is just seconds from finishing. There, it's done, and I think that means that all of a sudden Dubgal's army is looking significantly more menacing. Popcracker so far, he's gotten stuck as far as the Zerg and Baneling composition goes, right? And sure, he's getting himself centrifugal hooks, which is the Baneling speed upgrade. These Stalkers are now also going for the run by here towards the gold base, picking off more and more drones. 36 of them have already gone down here. Zerglings will eventually clean this up, but you can see the strength of +2 armor. Right? These Stalkers are actually withstanding this Zergling assault pretty well, just because the links are completely unupgraded at this point in the game. Now, a few of them will end up falling just because of the sheer speed that these Zerglings do provide for this army, but the Adepts and Stalkers are now also coming in with the reinforcement. These engagements, of course, are being taken off creep centrifugal hooks, just about to finish, but that does mean that for the time being, these links will have a hard time, or rather these Banes will have a hard time trying to close the distance. With a little bit of micro, yeah, Dubgal is going to have a great time to simply picking off these units one at a time. And reinforcing Warp Prism now also ready to go. Here come the Banelings. They're trying to connect to all of these units. Solid splits once again here by the Protoss player. He will be able to just barely defend that. And yeah, that is one of these engagements that's just completely dominated by upgrades. If Popcracker would have had +2/+2 himself here, I think this would have gone heavily in his favor. But all of a sudden, right, we are finding ourselves at an interesting moment. Popcracker says, what a crazy games. Wait, what did he say? What a crazy game. Thanks for that. I had a lot of fun. XD. What a fun match. That was actually a really cool game. Solidly played though by Dubgal, or yeah, Dubgal, right? Like, it shows why playing something a little bit more standard is pretty freaking good, right? All he essentially did was just get a bunch of upgrades and push out with +2/+2, and then he ended up obtaining the victory after defending continuously in the earlier stages of the game. This is the reason why the standard is the standard. Then again though, I completely understand why Mr. Popcracker decided to go for such an aggressive play. I mean, he of course found out that, you know, he had the gold minerals. I mean, he must have figured that, hey, if I'm mining with 40 workers and my opponent is as well, the golden minerals are going to bring in a lot of additional resources, so I will likely eventually be able to overwhelm him. But Dubgal solidly stood his ground. Probes were being used very nicely there, and while it could have gone in favor there of Popcracker at any given notice, right? The defense of Dubgal was just a little bit too good, and eventually the Adepts and the Stalkers managed to overwhelm this army. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. If you did, make sure you hit that like button down below. And if you want to see more, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you get a notification as soon as I upload more. Other than that, if you have an awesome game yourself as well, you can go ahead and submit it to replays at LowkoTV, and I may very well end up casting your game in the future. But for now, I want to thank you for watching. Have an amazing day. Do not forget to smile, alright? And I will see you in the next one.